Years passed, and the world slowly quieted after the chaos of the rebellion. But inside Xie Daoyun's heart, the echoes of war never fully faded. She had found a new home in the mountains, in a small village sheltered by bamboo groves and streams that sparkled even in the dead of winter. Her days were simple now. She taught her children, guided the remaining members of her clan, and wrote poems whenever silence embraced her. It was a life far from what she had once imagined. She had lost so much: her home, her husband, her high-standing place among the great families of the South. But in this quiet, unassuming exile, Daoyun discovered something she never expected: freedom. She was no longer confined by the strict expectations of marriage, no longer overshadowed by men who had consistently underestimated her. And so, she began to write again. But this time, it was different. She wasn't writing to impress or to compete. She was writing to speak the truth of her own soul. Her poetry shifted, becoming deeper, sharper, filled with the raw, unyielding courage of a woman who had walked through fire and emerged on the other side. One winter evening, as delicate snowflakes fluttered across the village, a messenger arrived. He carried letters from the Xie clan, from her uncle Xian's descendants, and from scholars who still remembered the brilliant girl whose words had once stunned an entire room of men. They wrote of reunions, inviting her back to the family estate. They wanted to honor her, to celebrate the incredible strength she showed during the rebellion, and to preserve her writings for future generations. But as she read their words, Daoyun only smiled. The world she came from, the lavish salons, the intellectual debates, the elegant banquets, it all felt like a distant dream now, a life that belonged to someone else. She had become a different person, someone stronger, someone freer. That night, the snow began to fall heavily. It was thick, silent, seemingly endless. Daoyun lit a single candle and stepped outside, her breath misting in the frigid air. She watched the flakes drift and dance, swirling through the quiet darkness. For a fleeting moment, she saw her younger self, the confident girl in the Grand Xie household, standing proudly among seasoned scholars, reciting her famous line, "It is like willow catcones, rising with the wind." But tonight, the snow didn't just remind her of poetry. It reminded her of life itself, fragile, unpredictable, and beautiful, even in its deepest sorrow. She looked out at the white world unfolding around her and whispered to herself, "Everything changes with the wind." In the years that followed, Daoyun's poems continued to circulate quietly among scholars, passed from hand to hand like precious secrets. Her courage during the rebellion became a legendary story told all across the Jiangnan region. And though she never returned to the wealth and glory of her youth, her name remained unforgettable, not because she was a wife, not because she was a member of a great clan, but because she lived with unflinching truth, with indomitable strength, and with a heart that never, ever surrendered. When she finally passed away, it was said that snow was falling again, soft, silent, endlessly drifting. And some say that even today, if you walk through the Jiangnan mountains in winter, when the snow rises lightly with the wind, you can still hear her voice, gentle, resolute, and timeless, the voice of a woman who turned survival into poetry. Thank you for following this journey.